Okay, so starting seated. It doesn't matter what position that might be. It might be crossed legs, it might be legs out straight, it might be heels in, it might even be on a chair if that's how you feel today, so that you're comfortable. So this week my theme has been one of the elements, and that's fire. So we worked through the earth, the water, and the air. We've come to fire, and our fire element is very much in the center of our body. I like to think of it as the coal-fired engine of a steam engine, and one of those lovely steam trains that we see across the Purbex. And if there's too much fire there, then the train's going to go woo woo shh, shh, and steam across too fast. If there's not enough fire in the steam engine, the train is going to stop. Okay, and that's how it can relate to us as well. So we need to keep this fire burning at a nice, comfortable rhythm, a nice, comfortable level. Not too fast, not too slow, but just nice and gentle. So we're going to work into the center here a bit today. So let's take a couple of circles off the shoulders to start with. And somebody said to me yesterday, oh, I managed to do almost all that class with my eyes closed. That's what I'm intending. But hopefully you can feel rather than having to watch too much. Roll the shoulders in both directions. And then I'm going to go straight into taking your hands to your personal fire, or your solar plexus, if you like to think of it that way. And plexus means nerves, a ball of nerves, and solar means the sun. So it's your fire in the center of your body. From there, you're going to just draw the arms open, lead with the elbows backwards, and open your arms any old way they want to go. And that will be with the inhale. With the exhale, you're going to bring those hands back to the center, as if you're giving yourself your own little personal hug, and maybe a little contraction if you want to. So I'm going to breathe in and open the arms wherever they want to go. They could go in separate directions. They could go the same way. They could go up. They could go down. And then they come back in again. So I'm aiming for longer breaths rather than deeper breaths. And bit by bit, the breaths will get a little bit longer as you do this. So I'm just going to be quiet, let you close your eyes and let you explore any way you want to move. And let's just do 2 more of those. Expanding and contracting. You might even take a yawn with one of those expansions, and that's the sort of thing we're aiming for. The feeling you get when you yawn and stretch at the same time, and it's called pandiculation. It's this lovely big stretch. Coming back to center when you're ready. Okay, then we're going to take the hands and just fold the fingers in and gently rotate the wrists round and round. And then bringing the hands down. I'm going to do the same with little sways. So I'm going to sway to one side and come back to the center nice and slowly, and then sway to the other side. So it's nice and slowly, nice and gently, breathing any way that feels comfortable. I'm not dictating the way that you breathe, except to just try and make the breaths a little bit longer. And pause anytime you like. Go into that sort of extra stretch of a yawn if you want to. You might find a little bit of space in the shoulders or the head and you want to just pause. Maybe you find a little click in the spine that you want to just explore. And then just do one more of those. And coming back to center again. After those sways, I'm going to do a little rotations up the spine. So make the spine long, turn to one side without pulling, without overstretching, without tension. And then come back to the center. Let those elbows just guide the arms backwards a little bit as you breathe in. And with the exhale, turn to the other side. And we'll do a few of those as well. And again, stop whenever you want to explore the movement or the stretch. Or keep going if you want to. And then back to the center when you're finished, and come down with the chin down towards the throat and gently roll your head from side to side. Nice and gently, nice and slowly. So a comfortable place for your head, neck and shoulders, releasing. And then again, come back to center. And change position slightly. If you've got sitting on something, I'll take that away now, just pop it to one side. And then take your hands behind you and stretch your legs out. I'm going to just work through those toes, give them a squeeze and a stretch, a squeeze and a stretch. As if you're squeezing a pencil and then stretching your toes as long as they can get. So just a couple of those. Last week we counted through all the movements. This week it's a bit more about how it feels. And then point and flex the feet, working through the front and backs of the legs. Just a little bit now of rotating the ankles, but we'll come back to that shortly. So rotate them just a little bit now in both directions to release from your seated position. Okay, and then with the hands supporting you, but we don't want the shoulders up to the ears, we want the shoulders away from the ears, and the hands can be wherever's comfortable. Slide one knee in, and then change legs. And change legs again. So I'm going to go sideways so you can see these movements from the side. So I'm leaning back, but not into the shoulders, and I'm changing legs one at a time. So another part of our fire element is our digestion. Fire digests our food, but also our emotions and our thoughts. So I'm just going to work a little bit through the digestive system here. For those who want to, you can start to keep the legs off the floor now. So you're working the abdominals. If your back is not happy for you to do that, then do put the feet back down on the floor. You're still going to get some effect through the abdominals. So you're going to feel those thighs working as well, just like we do with thigh rotation sometimes. Really squeeze your tummy in and let that work for you. and then place the feet on the floor. You might want to lean forwards and rotate the wrists again. Okay, I'm going to take this into reverse tabletop now. So I'm going to place the hands underneath the shoulders and lift the chest, the feet just a little bit forwards from the knees. And then you can see if you can get lift off. If you want to just stay here, option to stay here and stretch the legs up one at a time, or come up to tabletop position, placing the feet under the knees and looking at the ceiling above your chest. Squeeze upwards a little bit, breathing nice and steadily. And then look at your knees and come back down again and release your wrists. I'll just show you the next stage. So I'm going to do that. That's the Dvipada, 2 foot. I'm going to do Ekapada version. So in a minute, you're going to come back up or keep the bottom on the floor. Stretch one leg up, put it down. Stretch one leg up, put it down. Okay? You can do it from the floor if you don't want to take lift off today. All right? So when you're ready, either keeping the bottom on the floor or lifting your bottom up, and then stretch one leg at a time. And then bring those feet down to the floor and your bottom down if you've lifted it, and release the wrists again. Okay, now I'm going to take the hands underneath the thighs and balance. If you want to keep the feet on the floor today, then keep the feet on the floor and just work on opening the chest and bringing that solar plexus forwards. But otherwise, we're now going to straighten the legs, holding underneath the legs rather than holding the floor this time. So you could be very light underneath the legs, just guiding them. So I could take my hands away if you wanted to. And one more of those. And down and release. Okay, now we get to go on the floor. So I'm going to lie down on the floor now in semi-supine. Grab a cushion or pillow for your head if you want one. And we're going to go through a few things on the floor and I'll guide you through. So starting with your back and your feet on the floor, but your knees bent, hands on the belly. Feet are about hip width apart. Take a couple of releasing breaths. So the work we've just done has really fired up those abdominals. And arch the back slightly and give you a little bit of a pelvic tilt. That's great. Then bring the pelvis back to neutral. Now suck the belly button to the spine to the floor, so that the tailbone curves very slightly off the floor. And that's another pelvic tilt the other way, and then back to neutral. So let's do the first one again. So we've got the coccyx pressing into the floor. That's 12 o'clock on our clock face. Come back to neutral. Suck the belly to the spine to the floor. That's 6 o'clock. And then back to neutral. Let's do that one more time. 12 o'clock, neutral, 6 o'clock, neutral. Let's try 3 o'clock. You press the right hip down into the floor as you lift the left buttock very slightly, or the left pelvis very slightly from the floor, and then back to neutral. Left side, left to pushing into the floor, right buttock or hip comes very slightly off the floor, and then to neutral. Do the right one again. Press the right one down. That's 3 o'clock, neutral. Press the left one down, lifting the right one. That's 9 o'clock. Come back to neutral. 12 o'clock, center. 3 o'clock, center. 6 o'clock, center. 9 o'clock, center. Let's go round anti-clockwise. 12 o'clock, center, 9 o'clock, center, 6 o'clock, center, 3 o'clock, center. Okay, now we're going to see if we can fill in the gaps on that clock. So it takes a little bit of practice to do a whole circle, but bear with it and see how you feel. Do a 12 o'clock, and then from there, without coming back to center, can you do a 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4, 5, 6 o'clock, 7, 8, 9 o'clock, 10, 11, and back to 12. Lovely. Just come to neutral for a minute, and then we'll see if we can do anti-clockwise. 12 o'clock, 11, 10, 9 o'clock, 8, 7, 6 o'clock, 5, 4, 3 o'clock, 2, 1, and back to 12, and then back to neutral. Have another go and see if you can either do the 4 points or the full circle, one each way. And this really mobilizes the hip joints, the pelvis, and all the internal organs in there as well. So our digestive system, as well as the bladder, hip joints, lower back, sacroiliac joints, everything can be mobilized with these clock circles. And let's pause now. Bring the feet a little bit closer together. Bring your right knee to the chest and hold it either over the shin or underneath the thigh, depending on what works for you today. Just pause to take a little breath. And as you breathe out, draw the knee to your chest, flattening your back to the floor. And if you want to lift the head, lift the head. I'm not trying to touch the knee, I'm trying to flatten the back. And then we're going to put the head down. And the foot is going to go up in the air. So last week we stretched the leg with the belt with Hasta Padangustasana. This week, no stretch involved, just wherever your leg wants to go. And point and flex the foot. The knee could be bent, the leg could be straight up, the leg could be out towards the wall ahead of you. If you need a pillow for your head, have a pillow so you feel totally comfortable. Rotate the ankle round and round, a couple of times each way. And then bend that knee and bring the foot back to the floor. Let's do the same the other side. So I'm going to bring that left knee to the chest and hold it either over the shin or under the thigh. Draw it down towards your belly to flatten the back. Lift the head to broaden the back even more. And then put the head down and lengthen the leg. Point and flex the toes. Round and round with the ankle. And if you can see the foot, watch it and see so that you can understand what movement you've got on each side of the body. And then bring that knee back to the chest and the foot back to the floor. I'm going to go back to the first side. So without touching the leg now, I'm going to bring the knee to my chest, let the knee fall outwards to the side, and then take it in circles. So you're stirring the porridge. That's the leg going in circles. And maybe half a dozen times each way. Trying to get the movement from the hip, not just the knee, so that you really feel the whole leg is circling from the pelvis. If you've got a stiff hip, that is the tricky bit. The knee wants to do the work for you. And when you've done about half a dozen in each direction, bring the foot back to the floor and just pause for a moment and feel the difference between the two sides. And then without touching the left knee, draw it towards your belly. Let the knee flop outwards, and then off you go, taking that leg in a few circles each way. Eventually bringing that foot back to the floor again beside the right. And so both feet are on the floor and you're back in semi-supine. So just as we did seated, we're now going to do lying down. Stretch one leg up towards the ceiling and then bend it, put it back on the floor. Stretch the other leg up towards the ceiling and then bend it and put it on the floor. Now you can stay with the feet on the floor as you alternate these legs, so keep going, or option to take both feet off the floor and keep them off the floor as you do this, so that you are alternately stretching the legs while the knees are into the chest. It feels different on the back. And you can stretch those legs out straight up if you want to, or straight towards the wall ahead of you, which is a little bit more work on the belly. So it's a little bit like cycling, slow cycling. And then let's make this the last one and bring the feet back to the floor again, back into semi-supine. I'm going to take a bridge pose now for those who'd like to join me. And if you've got a pillow behind your head, you'll want to take that away now. So my feet are fairly close to my bottom and the heels about hip width apart. The arms are palms facing downwards beside the hips. I'm going to start with the pelvic tilt by bringing it into 6 o'clock and then lift the coccyx up towards the ceiling. Option to just go back to your clock face rotations if you want to, if you don't want to lift today. Once you've lifted your bottom, you've got the back of the neck is long, the chin is tucked down. Don't turn the head. Take it up only as high as you're comfortable to go today. And then gently, gently bring it back down again. Imagining the spine as that beaded necklace. We're going to see if we can lift it one bead at a time and lower it one bead at a time in your own time. When you get to the floor each time, you might want to try a little 12 o'clock before you do the 6 o'clock and lift. Okay, so option now to change this. Next time you've got your bottom on the floor, you could take the feet a little bit closer together and take the right knee to the chest and the right foot up towards the ceiling so that you're doing a one-legged bridge pose. So then you take 6 o'clock and lift with one leg stretched out. Come back down again before you change legs. And lifting the other knee and leg up, pressing the first foot in the floor to lift the hips. So this is Ekapada bridge pose, a one-legged bridge pose, or stick with the two-legged version if that feels most comfortable to you today. And do a few more. So these are back bends and they're supported and they're a little balanced. But we're also opening up that solar plexus area of the body, whereas the bottom of the rib cage at the top of the abdomen is stretching up towards the ceiling as you do your lifts. Now, if you started by lifting just the right leg in this one-legged bridge, finish with the left leg, so you've done a full set. and come back down to the floor. Take the feet wider now. I'm going to take mine as wide as the mat. So walk the feet apart. And if you want to put a cushion back underneath your head as a pillow, then do so. I'm going to start with the hands on the belly. My feet are wide and gently windscreen wiper the legs just a little bit off the perpendicular. So just very slightly from side to side. And now I'm going to let those knees go over to the right, keeping the feet wide if possible. Let the knees go over to the right. Now, normally I'd say knees to the right, head to the left. But today, take your head to the right as well, the same way as the legs. Turn it completely so that you feel comfortably looking to the right. And your hands can stay on the belly, or they can go on the thighs, or they can go on the floor, or they can go in a cactus, wherever your arms want to go. Take a few breaths here. Notice the stretch that's coming down the side of the waist on the left side, with the shoulders on the floor. Now see if you can imagine that there is a piece of string or a tow rope between your two thighs, between the knees, okay? So with the knees over to the right, that tow rope is slack. As soon as you move the top knee, the left knee, then the tow rope is going to go taut. So move the top knee an inch, and now the two knees are connected to each other. They're going to come up together. So they're not touching because they've got the rope, but they are pulled up, if you like, and then the head comes back to center. We'll try it again the other side so you get the concept. Let's let the knees go to the left. Over they both go. Arms are wherever's comfortable. Head goes to the left as well. Take a few breaths here, feeling the space that's created all the way down the right side. So let's get that toe rope between the inner knees again. And as soon as you move the top knee, the right one, an inch, that toe rope goes taut. And so as you bring the right knee out, imagine it pulling the left one up as well. And the head comes back to center. Let's do that one more time each side. Knees to the right, head to the right. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, and as you breathe out, let the top knee pull the bottom one up and head to center. Knees to the left, head to the left. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, and as you breathe out, move the top leg half an inch and it pulls the bottom one with it so that the two are moving together. And then come back to center. Bring the knees back to the center and the feet back to the center. And we're going to be bananas. So stretch your legs out now. Take your right leg over to the right side of the mat. Follow it with the left one. And if the left one the ankle wants to hook over, then hook over the ankles if the left hip is happy to do that. Then the arms are going to go over to the right as well. They could go across the chest, or they could go behind your head and over to the right. Shoulders stay on the floor, bottom stays on the floor, but the arms and legs go over to the right. Bananasana, banana shape, breathing in and breathing out. And then let's change sides so the feet come to the middle and the head and the arms come to the middle. Left foot to the left side of the mat or beyond. follow it with the right one and maybe cross over the ankle. The arms can go either across the chest or behind the head. Relax the shoulders to the floor, relax the bottom to the floor, and breathe. And then bring everything back to the center. Bend your knees, bring your feet to the floor. Take a few breaths to just find that center again. And then we're going to roll over and come into cat pose. We'll take it really nice and slowly. Roll yourself over when you're ready. Onto your hands and knees. And then crawl into position. Taking any padding you want for your hands or your knees here. And once you get there, we're going to just see how that cat position feels today. I'm going to have a little wriggle around. A few times in each direction. Shoulders away from the ears, rock from side to side. Let everything drop over to the left side and then look to the right and maybe look behind you. And then the other side, rock to the right, look to the left. And maybe one more each side, just allowing yourself to sway and look behind you nice and comfortably. And then back to center. Let's do a cheeky cat. This is where the tailbone lifts up. That was your 12 o'clock when we were doing the pelvic tilt. So the very base of the spine, your coccyx, stick it up into the air, which gives you a little back bend and mobilizes the pelvis. At the same time, draw the shoulders away from the ears and see if you can lift your chest to look forwards, pressing the feet down. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, bring your 12 o'clock tucked under and your chin towards your throat, looking at your belly, and have any wriggle that feels comfortable here. And then we'll keep going, but with a nice little breathing pattern. So as you breathe in and look up, it's to the count of about 2. And then we're going to pause for about 2. Then we're going to breathe out for about 4 and pause for about 2. Let's keep going. Breathing in for about 2, pause for 2, breathing out for about 4, pause for 2. And you keep going with about that rhythm. Now, next time that you take the scaredy cat and the rounded spine, see if you can push it back a little bit further, maybe all the way to a child's pose, before pausing and then coming back up again. So nice and slowly. And these back bends and forward bends again are working through our solar plexus and just keeping the fire embers burning. So keep your awareness on that central section, on that little spot of your solar plexus. Maybe next time you come forwards, you'd like to separate the hands a little bit and bring it through to a cobra so that your solar plexus is a little bit more open. Again, it's entirely up to you. It depends how you're feeling today. So going forwards and back with the breath. Keeping the shoulders released away from the ears. You can close your eyes, you can keep the face soft, and you can just focus on the length of the breath. Not necessarily deep breaths, but long breaths. I'm only going to take one dog pose today. So whenever you're ready, from your scaredy cat, you can take yourself into dog pose if you want to. Watch those knees float off the floor, and then very gently stretch your legs one at a time. Taking the shoulders away from the ears, having the head wherever is comfortable. Just be nice and relaxed about it. Your arms don't need to be rigid. The legs don't need to be rigid. And whenever you want to come back to the floor, do so. And rest in a child's pose with the feet together and the knees fairly wide. Rest yourself down. You could put a pillow under your face if you want to have it nice and soft, or you could rest your head on your hands or the floor. Breathing into your upper back. And it doesn't have to be still. You can have a little wriggle if you want to. And then lifting your head, gently walk your hands back towards you and come up, coming up to high kneeling and rolling your shoulders. Place your hands on your solar plexus again. Breathing in and very slowly start to raise the arms, draw the elbows back, bend with the backs of the wrists, pushing the pelvis forwards if you want to, and open yourself up completely. And then breathing out, bring those hands back to the solar plexus with a little bit of a hug type contraction. Lovely. Roll your shoulders and we're going to come up to standing. So whichever foot's nice and comfortable to come forwards, press down and slowly bring yourself up. You need to adjust your screen or your mat so that you can see. Just come to a comfortable standing position. Rocking forwards and back or side to side to just find that sweet spot for your Tadasana position. Drawing the shoulders down away from the ears. Squeeze your fingers, stretch your fingers, and then let your arms just be. So there's no tension in the arms, they're just hanging down. There's no tension in the legs, you're not squeezing the buttocks, there's no tension, but you have got height from the tailbone, from the 12 o'clock up to the crown of the head. You're reaching and maybe pressing the heels into the floor. So press the heels down but to lift up the crown only, and then relax your arms. Take all your awareness into your hands. Well, what are the hands doing? Just make sure there's no tension there, that your arms are not out here, they're just hanging, that you're not squeezing, you're not stretching. Just let them be. Let those arms be. Now, without moving the fingers, can you make your arms longer? It just gives you that awareness of drawing. Hopefully you found some space between shoulders and ears then. Making the arms longer without moving the fingers. And then bring the hands back to your solar plexus. You can have your eyes closed if you feel comfortable and balanced. Because just repeat what we've just done. So you lift the arms and you draw the elbows backwards And you let the backs of the hands draw backwards, and you lift your chin slightly and go into a very slight back bend if you want to. Breathe in, opening up your solar plexus. And as you breathe out, we're going to give ourselves an actual hug. So cross the arms over and hold your shoulders and give yourself a hug. You might want to wriggle the shoulders. You might want to lift the elbows and just point them to various parts of the room. Notice which arm is on the top, because we forget very quickly. I'm going to change sides. So again, from the center, breathing in, let those arms float outwards, the elbows pull back, backs of the hands pull back, and maybe a back bend if you want to. And as you breathe out, change the cross of the arms. Give yourself a hug. Release the shoulders if they need. You could have a sway, you could have a little rotation. You could lift the elbows and just point them all over the room. And then bring those hands back to the center. One more time on that opening. So breathing in, float the arms out, the elbows go back, the arms go out. As you breathe out, bring those hands back to the solar plexus, back to your center. A little smile. Now I'm going to take the hands, palms facing each other. You're going to hold a very precious Chinese vase. Stretch the arms forwards just a little bit. Keep the arms bent, and up that vase goes until it's on the top shelf. Now take the palms facing forwards, bend your knees, and put your hands down on your thighs. Have the fingers talking to each other, the thumbs hooked outwards. Breathing in, cheeky cat, tailbone up, chest up, chin up. Breathing out, scaredy cat, tuck the tailbone under and look towards your thighs. Breathing in, hold that vase again. It's a twin vase, hold it, it's going to go all the way up. Straighten the legs, put it on the top shelf. And then bring your hands back to your solar plexus. Breathing in, open up. Breathing out, hands to center. Breathing in, bend the knees, pick up the vase. Take it all the way up. And breathing out, put the hands on the knees. Breathing in, cheeky cat, look forwards. Breathing out, scaredy cat, round the spine. Breathing in, bend the knees, hold another vase, take it all the way up. And breathing out, bring it back to your solar plexus. Do two more, so if you want to close your eyes, do. Breathing in, open the chest. Breathing out, take that lovely little contraction of the arms and of the chest. Breathing in, pick up the vase. Take it up. Breathing out, hands on the thighs. Breathing in, cheeky cat. Breathing out, scaredy cat. Breathing in, pick up the vase. Take it high. Hands back to the chest. Last one, feel these movements. Breathing in, elbows go back, chest opens. Smile. Breathing out, bring it all back to center. Breathing in, bend the knees, pick up the vase, off the table, take it up high. And breathing out, touch your thighs. Breathing in, cheeky cat. Breathing out, scaredy cat. Breathing in, pick the vase up off the coffee table, take it up. And bring everything back to your solar plexus. Just pause, allow the arms to hang again, drawing them down away from the ears. Take your head to one side and then roll it round to the other side. And do any movements that you feel are comfortable with your head, neck and shoulders here. Anything that feels comfortable. And eventually bringing the head back to center when you're ready and back up on top of your spine with maybe a little shoulder roll. So we're going to come back down onto the floor and you're going to need a few little props now, a couple of cushions maybe a blanket, maybe 2 blankets, maybe 4 cushions, you decide, and I'll just show you briefly what we're going to do so that you know when you come down. Okay. So in a moment we're going to come down to semi-supine again, and I'm going to have these cushions either side of me here, one either side, because we're going to do that lying down tree pose and a lying down Baddha Konasana butterfly pose. So we're going to take it nice and slowly, nice and relaxed. You can have blankets, cushions, pillows, heating on, cup of tea handy, cat on your feet, dog on your chest, whatever it is you've got. All right, so lying down, semi-supine, hands on your belly, and take your awareness to your breathing to start with. So with the pelvic tilts, you're going to go 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. And you might want to do the 3 o'clock and the 9 o'clock and repeat. Or you might like to take those clock circles if you got it earlier. So 1 clockwise and 1 anti-clockwise. Once you feel comfortable in the pelvis and your back, we're going to draw the feet and the knees together so they're touching. I'm going to slide the left leg out straight and let the right knee come down to a cushion or a pillow. So I'm in a lying down tree pose, Supta Vrksasana. I'm not going to put any effort into it though. I'm not going to use it as a pose. I'm going to use it as restorative. So that straight leg is not trying to push away or press into an imaginary floor like we might sometimes do. That straight leg is just completely relaxed and flopping outwards. Your right thigh and knee are supported completely. If you feel there's any strain there at all, pop some extra padding underneath that right thigh and knee so you feel completely at ease. You could put a blanket across your pelvis, across the inner thighs if you want to, because that's the area that is stretching and opening. Or you could blanket over you completely. Your hands could be on your belly, on your thighs, on the floor, or even cactus. Notice your breath as it comes in, and notice your breath as it goes out. We're aiming for longer, not deeper. And maybe once you've breathed in, you just pause there a while before you breathe out. And before you breathe back in again, maybe you just pause a while. There's no hurry. completely yielding to the floor. And if any tension starts to creep in, you just remind yourself that your legs are relaxed, your hips and pelvis are released, your lower chest, upper abdomen is the area that's open and breathing, and the face is soft. I'm going to very gently change sides by taking my right hand underneath the right thigh. I'm going to guide that knee upwards. And I'm going to straighten that leg out next to the left one. Adjust anything that needs adjustment before sliding the left foot to the floor, bending the left knee and letting the left knee go out to any support that you want there. Relaxing both legs, allowing the right foot to flop outwards. Maybe the left sole of the foot is touching the right leg, maybe it isn't. Maybe you've got one cushion or pillow, maybe you've got 3 or 4, whatever feels comfortable. Keep warm and focus on the breathing. Hands can be wherever's comfortable, belly or thighs or floor. As you breathe in, allow the breath to be comfortable. Maybe pause before you breathe out. Once you've done your breath out, maybe there's pause before you breathe back in. I am relaxed and I am calm. Take a little body scan and make sure that no tension has crept in. Let everything release. I'm going to gently guide the left knee back up again by placing the hand underneath the thigh and just giving it a little helping hand so there's no strain there. And then stretching both legs out to become symmetrical again, as much as feels comfortable. And I'm going to do both knees together, and some people find that they need extra padding now on the sides, so extra underneath the thighs. If the cushions or pillows you haven't got are not quite big enough, you could try folding them in half or turning them upright, and that gives you more height. So bring both knees bent and soles of the feet in contact with the ground, adjusting the pelvis as appropriate. And very slowly let the knees go outward, sliding the soles of the feet together. And make sure that your thighs are resting on something, that they're not hanging in midair. So that's when I say, you might need to turn or fold your cushions to completely support those outer thighs. So there's no strain in keeping the legs there at all. The feet are soft against each other. The hands could be on the inner thighs or on the belly, or out to the side, or a cactus. And you take a steady breath in for the count of about 2. You pause for about 2. You breathe out for about 4. And you pause for about 2. So only the exhale is the longer element. You don't need to count them all the time. You could count just 1 to get the rhythm. And after that, it's an about. Take a little body scan once more. Just see that everything is relaxed. If there's any tension in the hips and the groins, then maybe the supports are not high enough, or option to go back to straight legs or the one leg bent, one leg straight. Soften the face, relax your shoulders and your arms, and take a few more rounds of breath. Taking a slightly different breath to realize that you're about to move. And placing the hands underneath the thighs. Gently help the knees to come back together. With the feet a little bit wider than the knees, let the knees touch. So the opposite action. Draw the knees to the chest with one hand on each knee. Let the knees go out to the side and then take them in circles with the back broad on the floor. And a few times each way, massaging your back and releasing the hips. And if you want to lift your head and slide your hands down the shins, maybe as far as the feet, to take a little rock, then do. Option to just stick with the hands on the knees. Preparing your back now for Shavasana relaxation. So taking any movement that feels appropriate for you. And then we're going to lie down. But in those cushions that you had underneath your thighs there, if you just bring them a little bit closer to each other underneath your thighs, that's going to feel really nice to lay your legs down on for relaxation. So cushions under the thighs if you want to, cushion under your head, cover yourself up with your blanket. You might want to make yourself warmer with socks and jumper. Allow the feet to flop outwards, the backs of the hands on the floor, not too close to the sides of the body, so we want space underneath the armpits. You might want to tuck your shoulder blades under slightly if they feel like they're digging into the floor. A little roll of the head is always nice, so if you want to drop the head to one side and pause, and then bring the head back to center and drop it the other side and pause. And back to center. Make any adjustment you need to your feet and your knees, your thighs. Adjusting the pelvis as if it needs it. Make a yawn. A yawn is that beautiful stretch and breath in. It gives all the muscles of the body a little bit of movement unconsciously, and then release. Making the adjustments to the face that you would like to make. Focus on a nice, soft breathing pattern. And then take your awareness outside to a place where you can see the blue sky, the sun on your face, and the autumn leaves on the trees. And with a slight breeze, those leaves gently rustle and scrunch beneath your feet. And then take yourself to your favorite viewpoint, where there's space all around you. And you still have that blue sky and the beautiful colours of those autumn leaves on the trees and on the ground. And the wind is swirling those trees around. The wind is swirling the leaves around and picking them up from the floor and making them dance on the breeze. And imagine that those leaves are your thoughts and emotions. They're your troubles or your worries. Let them dance. And just notice the movement as they dance around. And then the bigger gust of wind comes along and blows those leaves, dissipates them, and they go off into the distance, taking with them your thoughts and emotions, your worries and your troubles, so that you're left with just that beautiful blue sky, and the leaves are way off in the distance. If you notice any leaves that are gathered in a corner, set them free by giving them a little kick, and off they go into the wind. Separating and dancing, leaving you to breathe the fresh autumn air. Now very gently bring your awareness back to the weight of your body on the floor. Notice the rise and fall of your breath. You might want to just acknowledge your fingers and your toes. Bending your arms, bending your knees, and sliding the soles of the feet back in contact with the earth. If you want to stay lying on the floor as we finish the class, then you're very welcome. Otherwise, roll to one side, take it slowly. Maybe take one of those cushions to put your head on. As you pause there and open your eyes. And slowly, slowly make your way up to a comfortable seated position. And welcome back. We're going to take a slightly different finish today as well. We're going to take the hands back to that solar plexus. We're going to take one arm up, led by the elbow, the other arm down. And just breathe in, open up that center. And as you breathe out, bring the hands back to the center. The other way. From the center outwards. Turn the palms of the hands upwards and pause there with the sun in your hands. A nice smile. Open up the chest, lead with the elbows. And bring the hands back to your lotus flower. Ready for it to grow up into the sunshine. And my quote this week is nice and simple. Sometimes the most important thing we can do is to take a rest between two breaths. Breathing in, lift up. Namaste. Thanks very much all.